All right, we're here. We made it. So,
wow.
Merry Christmas Eve. Or someday during a Hanukkah spread for you. I'm not sure which day it is, but Merry.
Well, it's someday of Hanukkah. You're supposed to get a present every night. We never did that in my family. We got an IOU. I don't know what the hell that was about. We never got anything. Cheap family.
Or maybe poor.
Yeah, it was more like it was poor, but the expectations were there because we'd read about it and go, hey, we're not like the brothers. We'd sit down and go, we're not getting a gift every day like it says in this book here. What's the deal?
Yeah, wait, I want that.
And if you asked your parents, they would just say, you're lucky you're getting dinner. Now shut the fuck up and mow the lawn. It was not a pleasant jury.
Well, you weren't among the richer set, so let me see.
No, we were not.
All right, it's Freeform Friday. I'm gonna try to take questions from all over. Locals, obviously, being my favorite, but we'll take it elsewhere. And playing a little catch up. We did have a tiny drop of Rust news that came in this week.
Oh my!
Looks like we've got another countersuit in the mix off of the Mamie Mitchell. So
what's the limit on these countersuits? Is there a federal limit?
I'm not sure, but I think that we're waiting on Sarah and Seth to go ahead and start their own, because right now we have Alec Baldwin's countersuit. Now, let me see. Alec Baldwin's countersuit. Hannah Gutierrez already had a suit going against Seth Kinney.
You and I ought to sue them for having to put up with this crap for over a year.
I like that.
How about the stress we've been under? Having to deal with this. This
I
could have
agree.
been put to bed a year ago.
No kidding. And I mean, Baldwin's got money, so just give him some money. I mean, we don't take that much.
I mean, enough already.
It's not a ton of stress. I mean, a few $1,000s, we'll shut up and thank you very much. We're realistic.
Other subjects we could cover. I wish they'd get this trial underway already.
Yeah.
Either in LA or Santa Fe, whichever one comes first.
Yeah, gee, Bernie or Ernie or whatever. Too bad.
Thanks for weighing in. That was really helpful, bro.
Yeah, always cheers me up on a Friday.
Merry Christmas to you too. Today's Yiddish word is bubba. Maybe bubba. I'm gonna go with that, bubba.
I've heard you refer to it like, come here, bubba. So
bubba or bubby. Oh, bubba could be grandmother or right. It could be both. But well, we're here. You remember, I just popped into my head today. Remember in the 80s or 90s when regular men would wear earrings, how popular it was? And it's all kind of gone away in the straight male world. But there was a time like male baseball players. I
had my ears pierced in the 80s.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, but you don't see it that much anymore.
No, and if you do, it's like with giant gauges.
Right.
Which I don't know how we got there.
I don't know how we did. How we moved away from it.
That blows my mind. Yeah, I remember that.
Just finishing up. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
No. I just wanted to mention Tab, which we didn't mention last week.
Oh yes,
because my mother drank gallons and gallons of Tab, and I didn't want to get into it because we're trying to focus on the two colors. But Tab was a huge cultural influence in my family.
Yeah, and mine, I actually was a weird kid who would order Tab when we went out at the restaurant, and my parents would look at me like I was a maniac.
My mother would drink a half a gallon of Tab and then have a half gallon of ice cream, thinking it was breaking even.
Compensation, makes sense. It's like that running joke of ordering a giant Happy Meal, a giant meal at McDonald's, supersized everything with it, Diet Coke.
Right.
So. But people are definitely guilty of it. So, okay, this week, what went down? I guess you've been watching. Our friend Rich Barris was testifying.
You talking to me or to the audience?
You and the audience.
I saw. Yeah, I didn't see the cross examination, but I saw the when he was on the stand. Yeah, that was very entertaining. I mean, he was very good. He was really good testifying.
It was very funny though, seeing the at least one of the cross exams. I didn't get all of them, but the judge had to admonish them both, saying, "Stop, because they would talk over each other." So I think it was like his New York going or whatever. She would ask a question, he would answer while she was doing it, and the court reporter apparently was going, "What do you want me to do here?"
No, you know what's weird is, and I tried to point this out to Viva when he was hosting that live stream, and I mentioned to you that's G. Gordon Liddy's son, who represents Maricopa County as the. Nobody finds this to be unusual except me. The fact that the son of G. Gordon Liddy is the guy trying to derail Carrie Lake, representing the deep state, and the deep state of Maricopa County, even deeper, whatever that deep McCain state is down there. Only you would know, because you're from. Are you from Maricopa or
no? Pima.
Oh, Pima. That's right. I'm sorry. Take that back. But anyway, it's just odd that Tom Liddy is trying the case. I find that to be fascinating.
Yeah, this is Tom Liddy, who has a brother who got into some trouble of late.
Oh yeah, the brother in San Diego. Yeah. It's I think he's on 5 years probation for having child porn on his computer. And the judge admonished him for being an attorney and also an assistant
deputy attorney general, right?
Yeah. So she admonished him for that and gave him 5 years probation, which I don't think the regular people would have gotten.
You think?
Instead of going the other direction to make an example of somebody who was representing the court, they went the other way. And
yeah, it's funny how that works.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. Instead of going, we're going to really fry you because we want to make an example out of you, they go the other way.
Yeah, it's sort of like the opposite of what I was talking about, working with my dad on the construction site. I guess instead of setting that example so nobody would think they were playing favorites, they said, "Oh, screw all that. We got you back."
Right. Again, I guess it's over now. So what happens now?
I don't know.
We find out on Monday or something what the result is. There's no jury, right? It's a judge.
I don't think so. I think it's just a judge and
a bench trial, right? Gee, I'm really shocked how this is going. I'm really surprised that they're giving her a day in court. Watch the headlines on Monday. They're going to give some time for the regular news media to catch on to this story.
I'm sure that they're terribly worried about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. I got some questions coming in from locals already.
What?
Yeah, this one was from hours ago. Missouri Gorilla sent us a tip and had a question.
That's the guy's name?
That is the name.
Okay, because we're working on Tusco the elephant. When I hear Missouri Gorilla, I get a little confused, Eric.
Are you tipping your hand on what's coming next?
Well, I don't want to give away Tuesday's upcoming show, which is a big one.
Yeah, it's a very big one.
It involves an elephant in the room. There's an elephant in the room. Let me put it that way.
The elephants are very big. For a big episode. Yeah, it's going to be a huge one.
Huge.
Question for Mark. Deputy Roger Craig said he was one of the first onto the so-called sniper's nest and saw a rifle clearly marked Mauser 7.65. You posted a video on YouTube this morning titled "Bullet Holes in Limousine," claiming there was a 7.65 bullet found. Can you please comment on this?
Okay, so it's really two different things. I mean, first of all, Craig was not the guy who found the rifle, just to be clear. Craig went up to the 6th floor. The rifle was found by Sheriff Boone and Deputy Sheriff Luke Mooney. And then later on, Weitzman comes over, who's a deputy constable, and Craig was wandering around up there, but he did not, just to be emphatic, find that rifle. And the reason we know that is because of the affidavits that were given to the Warren Commission. The rifle was found physically by Boone and Mooney, and Weitzman came over and saw the Mauser stamped on the barrel, made in Germany. And then I think Craig came over, but then Captain Fritz came over, and he saw the rifle that was a Mauser. So that was like The fifth person who saw it as a Mauser, Eric. That was 5 people. And then the DA Henry Wade went on local TV that night and said they found a German Mauser. So all of those people are involved in Mausergate, if that is a scandal. Then the same night, a man on CBS News, national news, Walter Cronkite, said they found a 7.65 German Mauser. So that was the 6th person in a row. So when Lieutenant Day, my memory is I'm trying to remember this now. Lieutenant Day goes up to the 6th floor. He removes, of course, a Mannlicher Carcano from the building after all of this German Mauser stuff. And he books into evidence the Carcano, the Italian Carcano. So as for the bullet in the car, I have no idea what the guy is referring to. The windshield that was pierced was shot from the front, as Eric and I talked about in another episode, and then into the throat from the front. I don't know whether 7.6.5 bullet was ever found from a Mauser. That's something else. If it's in that video, it doesn't mean that I endorse that theory, but I put that up specifically to answer the question about the windshield. That video is really, really powerful evidence of all these witnesses who saw the hole in the limousine windshield, Eric, and going from front into the limousine and then into Kennedy's throat. If that helps anybody.
No, I'm sure it does. By the way, Rumble, there are multiple comments. People are loving your tie. So do you want to show it off for anybody who might have missed?
This is from a supporter of the channel who sent me for Hanukkah. That's why I'm wearing it. It's a Hanukkah gift from
awesome.
A big supporter of the show.
That is really slick. Great tie. Okay, questions from locals.
All 3 of these guys celebrated Hanukkah, by the way. It's just so you know.
I've heard that rumor.
Yeah.
Question, Mark. Did the U.S. government poison alcohol during Prohibition in 1926 with regulations?
Well, it's the same as paraquat. Did they poison the pot by spraying it with paraquat? There's some rumors to that effect. There may have been some attempt to deal with alcohol. But I think they poisoned themselves, the bootleggers, because there were enough incidents of alcohol poisoning because of turpentine and other things that bootleggers put into bathtub gin. I don't think the government needed to do it. There was plenty of examples, not intentional. It's kind of like
not the brightest people doing it.
That's not a question of bright. There was just no standards. It was just people making whatever they wanted, not unlike the fentanyl thing today and not unlike paraquat in the 70s. I mean, all 3 of those could be linked together in a documentary. Paraquat, the bootleg bathtub gin, and fentanyl. All with bad consequences.
Okay. Again, locals, any plans to do a show on actress Jean Seberg, her persecution by the mainstream media and FBI, marginalization in Hollywood, and ultimately tragic life story?
She was a vehement communist. I don't know how tragic it was. She, imploded, and I don't know how tragic that situation is. I'd rather do one on Frances Farmer, who had a lobotomy at Camarillo, and that's a much more interesting story. There's already been a movie on Jean Seberg. There's been 2 movies about Jean Seberg. I don't think Eric and I have to go and investigate stuff that has 2 movies, Hollywood movies about it. I think that story is told, and we're looking for untold.
Okay. Or at least parts that are overlooked. I mean,
yeah.
I definitely always want to define, because people will be like, well, you're talking about Kennedy. And it's like, yes.
Right. We're not talking about this. We're not talking about the stuff the mainstream media is talking about, apparently.
No, I don't think we are.
Right. Oh, look, maybe Tucker watches the show. What do we know? All of a sudden, out of the blue, this guy turns 180 degrees. Something must have influenced him.
Or maybe one of his producers.
Yeah, maybe one of his producers. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much credit. Question mark. Any comments on the latest FBI claims of conspiracy theories concerning their illegal Twitter interactions?
Oh, they're saying it's a conspiracy, right?
I believe so.
Right. That's funny. You talk about man bites dog story. I mean, give me a break. That's hysterical. I mean, when they're caught with their hand in the cookie jar, all they could come up with at this point is to throw the conspiracy theory mudslinging that the CIA invented to deal with Mark Lane in 1964. At some point, conspiracy theory is going to begin to lose its power, like racist has begun to lose its power. It's just been the boy who cried wolf too many times. And both of these phrases or words have lost immense power over the years because of abuse, in my opinion.
Right. Well, they'll do that combined with character assassination, because that's another great way to go. It's like, oh, this reporter that they're turning it over to has this known history of fill in whatever blank they're going to fill. And
right. I think they're preaching to their own choir, though. I don't think anybody on the other side believes anything they say anymore. And I don't think they're attempting to convince anybody on the other side. This is so these other people can go to cocktail parties and bounce this line off each other during Christmas break. You know what I mean? And live with themselves. Because I don't know how they're living with themselves right now. I don't know how they support this incredible meat grinder war in the Ukraine, how they support this money going over there, how they support the incredible censorship that they know exists but refuse to admit, how they support the insanity of going after this guy's taxes now and all the crazy crap that they have backed. I really don't know how they logically live with themselves. And I know how they could live with themselves morally. I just don't know how they live with themselves logically. You know, when they listen to, you know, if you listen to Jimmy Dore and Garland Nixon and Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate and the whole slew of them who are from the left, hammering them day and night, apparently to no avail, it's really breathtaking. Forget about us. I'm just talking about the people on their own side who've been hammering them about their Ukraine policy and their insanity with Russia and everything else. I don't know how, other than some MK Ultra program, which I do not. Oh, there's something.
You're fine.
I thought they got you for a second. I said MK Ultra.
Yeah, I have to have a pillow for my arm.
It's hemorrhoid. It's hemorrhoid. No, other than some sort of MK Ultra program, which I don't, disbelieve. It could be a new upgrade to the MK Ultra program involving their brainwashing of these people. I don't know how they logically live with themselves. You know, it's amazing. I don't know. I mean, they seem to be impervious to factual arguments.
Well, we've discussed that before. When you convince somebody of something or they're locked in, the more you go directly at them, the more they double down. So everything is literally a backfire. So you can go, here's this evidence. And then they'll just come out with something else more ridiculous and more ridiculous. That's
right.
Yeah, cognitive dissonance.
One of my solutions, I don't know if it's a solution, but one of my remedies that I thought of in healing this Civil War level wound was a series of national debates on stages across the country with various people on both sides. Not the same people, doesn't have to be celebrities, doesn't have to be anybody in particular, just people on both sides of this argument meeting in various, doesn't have to be televised, schools, gyms, auditoriums, town halls across the country for a period of a year. Just have it out. Physically be there and verbally hash it out. And I'm not even kidding about this. I think people would see it. I think both sides would benefit from it. And, you know, if you don't show up, you don't show up. I mean, but, you know, you can make these into small events, large events, mega events, TV events. You know, there's all different ways to do it. I'm not talking about, you know, some sort of, Anderson Cooper one night only event. I'm talking about having it across the country on small scale, big scale, and medium sized scale in numerous venues for a period of a year and get this thing over with. You know what I mean? Just go at it, both sides. I think it would help both sides to clear the air.
And good luck on that.
Thanks on that.
Sorry, I'm feeling grumpy.
I'm just trying to come up with ideas. You know, every new idea.
Okay, and
everybody goes, "Hey, good luck with that." That's been the response on the right. Hey, good luck. Hope it works out. I got to go on the one. You know.
By the way, speaking of that, and we were talking about FBI and Twitter and everything. Did you see the bit coming out about all the CIA, FBI, NSA employees, not only at Twitter, but at Facebook, just basic doing LinkedIn searches? Nothing too crazy, all open source searching, no PIs involved, just literally, let's look up the company profiles. Let's look at their history. Imagine that.
I've said for a number of years that if you worked at a 3-letter agency and had a security clearance, you should not be allowed to work in media. It's kind of like a lobbying law. There has to be some sort of a 5-year hiatus or some sort of a non-revolving door situation, just in terms of security clearance people going into media. That's got to stop. That has got to end through legislation. This thing, apparently, the CIA and the FBI divided up Twitter domestically, run by the FBI, and Facebook internationally, run by the CIA. Apparently, there's some delineation there, Hunley, between the two organizations. I don't know where the other ones fall in, NSA and ONI and some of the other ones, but apparently the FBI was concerned and dealt strictly with Twitter, and they must have split the baby and given Facebook to the CIA.
And people say they can't work together.
Right. They could work together. Come on.
As long as they have a common enemy. All right.
Which is nuts.
Yeah, sadly. The enemy are the people for them. All right. So Krabby T. Girth on Rumble. Question: who the hell is Carol in Christmas Carol? Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah.
Oh, Carol.
All right. Thank you, Krabby T. Girth. Anything else?
It's weird. I thought about this. We were talking about the thing that Barnes was talking about involving Trump becoming Speaker of the House.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That just sounds insane.
Right. But he went into great detail on the Duran the other day, on Tuesday. Apparently, he's dealing with Trump's inner circle, according to Robert. And Trump has said he's not opposed to it now. And he had been opposed to it up until now, becoming Speaker of the House. And there's a lot of different things that came up in this conversation that Robert had with the Duran. Apparently, you don't have to be a congressman to be Speaker of the House.
As soon as you told me that, I started going, what? And then went looking it up. And yeah, there sure enough was articles about this. I mean, I didn't do deeply, but in 2015, they were talking about John Boehner and who was going to replace him. And they were talking about getting Newt Gingrich in to replace John Boehner, but Gingrich wasn't actually in Congress at the time. So my head was
spinning, right?
Yeah, it kind of is, because it seems a little nuts. Also, I get it about McCarthy, but does that mean there are no other Republicans in Congress?
No. Explain about McCarthy, just so the audience knows what we're talking about. He does not have the votes to become Speaker of the House. So the alternative right now is to not have a Speaker of the House, because McCarthy is blocked by the MAGAs, who have said 5 to 8 or 10 of them have said under no circumstance will we give Kevin McCarthy the Speaker gavel. Now, the reason that they want Kevin McCarthy to have the Speaker gavel is because the neocons want a pro-Ukrainian war Republican running the House of Representatives. The neocons are now flipping out because the anti-war MAGAs are blocking the ascension of Kevin McCarthy to the Speaker of the House role. And he indeed does not have the votes, Eric. And that has become an incredible problem for the neocons in the government, who want him to be the Speaker of the House. Right. So the question is,
but what about another Republican? I mean, somebody just wrote.
You have to have the votes. You have to have the votes.
I mean, Jim Jordan, would he get the votes? Or I mean,
he would. Do you know how many? You have to have all of these people on board to become Speaker of the House. Jim Jordan, if he challenges him and goes for it, it could take 90 days. It could take 30 days. What Robert is saying is having Trump for 100 days to be the Speaker of the House, and then allowing them to figure it out in that 100-day period. Thereby, not having a Speaker of the House, by the way, alters, and this is for the people at home, the line of succession if the president should inexplicably, and who knows, I'm sure this is impossible, but if the president of the United States, God forbid, passed away.
Well, it's just found he had problems of some kind. You know, he didn't have to pass away. He might have to resign. We've had a president do that. You never know.
The second line after the vice president is the Speaker of the House, as most people know. If you do not have a Speaker of the House, who is next, Eric?
That was my question to you earlier.
Right. And the answer is, I'm going to tell the people at home now, it's the Senate pro temp of the Senate. Right. And the new pro temp, the president pro temp of the Senate is a weird thing. It was what's his name from Vermont for a number of years.
Bernie?
No, the other senator.
That nobody heard of?
No. He was been Senate pro temp, but now we got a new Senate pro temp. The Senate pro temp is called Mr. President, by the way, when there's no one around. But the Senate pro temp is now Patty Murray. She was quietly elected last week to be. Oh, yeah. She is the second longest serving Democrat out of Washington State to Dianne Feinstein, right? Because what's his name has quit, I think, the guy from Vermont, the other
Leahy.
Pat Leahy. Yeah. He was Senate pro temp for like 12 years or something, a long time. And they are the one who run the Senate when the vice president's not around nor needed. And they're not a Senate majority leader because that would be Chuck Schumer still. So it is in a semi-official position where they're called Mr. President. They are the president of the Senate, and they're usually elected by seniority. And that's why he was president of the Senate for so long, because he was the longest running Senator Leahy out of Vermont. But now they've elected this woman, Patty Murray, who is going to be president pro temp of the Senate. So that being said, if there's no Speaker of the House, the succession would go from the dead Joe Biden to the pot-ridden woman from California to this woman, Patty Murray. That would be the new line of succession, unless the seat is filled by someone like Donald Trump. Now, if Trump accepts this, they take a vote in the House, and who runs the House? The Republicans. So they can pick, it's not a cross-party vote. I mean, it's them electing their own Speaker of the House.
Right.
He could then appoint committee chairs. He could then appoint a committee to investigate the committee of January 6th. He could then sit in back of Joe Biden making faces during the January 20th State of the Union address with the gavel and do things like Nancy Pelosi did behind the back of Donald Trump in the same vein. I mean, the number of things that he could do in 100 days is astronomical, and then turn it back over to a duly elected Speaker of the House.
It still sounds insane.
Okay, but
I'm just,
believe me, who's not taking it to be insane?
Well, the Democrats, when I looked it up,
they're not
I
taking
saw
it
that
to be insane. They are freaking the effing out, Hunley.
Yeah, in 2021, they were trying to put forth legislation to ban that from happening or prevent that from happening.
I wonder why, Eric.
But then they may still get it in before the end of the year. They just got their bill through today.
They got one through about the Electoral College, the electoral vote, where it bans the vice president from acting as an arbiter in the Electoral College count and making him, and I think is going to go to the Supreme Court, making him a mere figurehead, the vice president, in the Electoral College sign-off after the election, like what happened January 6th. That was in this omnibus bill, buried in there on page 2 million somewhere, this little thing. And also they denied any attempt to rein in big tech in the bill itself. There was some congressional committees that suggested this might be a good thing to put into the bill. That went absolutely nowhere.
It has everything to do with infrastructure, of course.
Well, as I said to you, this thing, they are going to hold on to power till the time zone of Guam on New Year's Eve, not just Eastern time zone. They're going to hold on to power to the time zone of Guam on December 31st, and still pass bizarre legislation. As I've said for a year, the last fourth quarter of this year is going to be the craziest in American politics.
Is that, in all seriousness, is that officially when it does flip? Is the time zone in Guam?
I'm just making this up, but I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I'm asking.
I know.
I
don't know. I'm half kidding. I don't know. They're not going to. Believe me, if they could go by Pacific Standard Time instead of Eastern Time, they will. And if they can go by Guam time, they will.
Oh, oops.
So we'll go the other way.
How's it? Okay, well, Hawaii.
How could that be? They're in the Pacific. If I'm 3 hours behind Washington, and they go by right,
because Hawaii, I know, is
it's 6 hour difference. The guy's an idiot. Come on.
All right,
it's 3 hours. It's 3 hour difference here in LA. Where's Guam?
They're saying Guam's on the wrong side of the date line, so it must just have squeaked over or something. I don't know. Weird.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens. But if you could use Pacific time, they will. Believe me. And what about Hawaii? Where is their time zone?
I know Hawaii 6 hours behind, or 6 hours behind me. It's like 3 hours behind you.
Right. It's 3 hours behind me. So I mean, that's 6 hours from midnight. So they'll be going. I'm just predicting this insanity. They'll go to 6 a.m. I swear to God. Just a weird prediction. January 1st.
Okay.
Well, we'll come back.
Somebody said America's Samoa. Okay, I'm not.
Oh, American Samoa. I forgot.
I will not argue the geography because I literally don't know. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right. And then, they're not going to go by Eastern Standard Time if they could go by Hawaiian time. I'll tell you that much.
Wow. Oh, that would be amazing. I've never actually thought of that. What time? Because it's a big factor.
That's right. That's
anything
right. Actually,
can happen
passing crazy legislation like they're doing. You know, I thought about something today. In 1995, I think it was 1995, might have been 1994. I was approached by a representative of the Peace and Freedom Party. I don't know why I remember this today. I was approached by a representative of the Peace and Freedom Party to be on the ticket as a vice presidential candidate with Timothy Leary as the top of the ticket. And I respectively declined. Leary died in 96, so it was kind of a fait accompli. But I could have ascended to the head of the ticket and been president of the Peace and Freedom Party. But yeah, it was either 95 or it was for the 96 election.
Well, with your politics then, wouldn't it be more appropriate to say chairman of that party?
I would have been Chairman Mao of the party. With Leary. I don't know why the guy asked me. I didn't even know who the guy was. But I had to respectfully decline at that time due to prior commitments.
That is completely nuts. Okay,
I know. So I just remembered that. The Peace and Freedom Party. I say that one for Barnes so he can enjoy that at home.
Okay, we've got back to locals, fans of the Daily Wire. What are the chances that Daily Wire is an Operation Mockingbird?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell what's Mockingbird or not because there are usually people within an organization who are paid inside of it. Like there's people at the New York Times, there's people at the Washington Post, and there's people at the LA Times who've been there a long time and get covered defense contract stuff and, war reporting. And those guys are usually receiving some help from the deep state. But that being said, there could be people anywhere, who are doing it.
Okay.
I mean, they're not bulletproof.
Cool. Another locals questions from Samadam73. Question: you can't even really call it news anymore. It's like some kind of Lucy in the sky with diamond scenario on display every day. That's a quotation from Tucker last night, beginning the show talking about Zelensky's absurd speech to Congress. Mm-hmm. How notable is it that he's referencing LSD after bringing up Jolly West the other day to begin his JFK reflection?
Well, I don't know what to say about that, except that Tucker has a long history of drug and alcohol abuse by his own admission. And this is not me talking about it. So I assume he took acid. I'm assuming he took everything like everybody did. As per Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, LSD, 25 and everything else there. It is like we're taking acid. I mean, editorially, it's like we're on acid. So it's not a bizarre reference, to suggest that this guy shows up in this quasi-military outfit like Yasser Arafat used to do with the UN with a pearl handle revolver on his hip, or Fidel Castro used to do with his quasi-military outfit. I mean, when you start showing up in quasi-military outfits, whether it's Saddam Hussein or anybody, into a formal setting, my hair goes on fire. You know what I mean? Like, what is the message you're sending? He had like the insignia of the army of Ukraine on the top of the collar. You know what I mean? Like, why can't this guy put on a suit and tie? You know what I mean? Like, what is the message you're sending? I'm in battle right now. I need the money. My car is running. Let's go.
Okay, this is a side note to that, but somebody captured this perfect picture, and it was so embarrassing that you had Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi holding up the Ukraine flag behind this guy.
Yeah.
Like they're supplicants.
Dude, the whole thing was so surreal. I mean, the reality of it is that they're cutting him off. He's finished now. He's done. They gave him a Patriot missile battery, and they told him that was a gift, a parting gift, right? So now the Russians are almost fully mobilized, and he's done. They have a 500,000-man standing army, and they're going to march from one end of the country to the other. And we are now, according to my sources, trying to find an exit strategy. He was brought here by the neocons as a last-ditch effort to gather momentum and support. And they're fighting inside the administration on how to get out of this mess. And because there's no way out now. He's done. They want to throw the Poles at them. They want to bring the Polish army there. They will be ground up like mincemeat, just like the Ukrainians have. There's no more Ukrainians left to fight. They want to bring in the Polish army now. They will be destroyed also. And everyone knows this on both sides. Everyone knows this. This was a last-ditch attempt by Zelensky and the neocons to get whatever money they could to hunker down and try to survive. But giving them a Patriot missile battery is not going to stop the massive movement that's coming out of Russia that's going to crush every single thing in its wake. By having United States soldiers running that Patriot missile battery, which are the only ones who can run it, by the way, Eric, are U.S. Soldiers who know how to run that Patriot missile battery. They're sitting ducks also, because that's going to, once you turn on that targeting, the tracking device on the Patriot missile battery, from what I learned from the Duran, that's an act of war. You do not have to be fired upon by the missile because the reaction time is too slow to take out the missile. So the tracking device by a fighter pilot, when that is on, is the act of war itself and allows them to retaliate before a missile is launched from the Patriot missile battery. So who's ever running that thing, they could kiss their ass goodbye. Let me just put it, according to Scott Ritter, according to the Duran, according to Colonel McGregor, and numerous other sources that are commenting on the incredibly pending Russian invasion of the entire battlefield. And everyone knows this is coming now. Look, that was Zelensky's last dance, I think.
All right. Wow, it looks like some more snuck in here. Locals in between. Mark, do you know Daniel List, aka Dark Journalist? He has done several shows on the JFK assassination. Seems like you may have crossed paths.
I don't know who he is.
We've seen Dark Journalist a lot in chats and comments.
I don't know who
I haven't looked him up. I mean, I've looked for a minute and saw he has a video. He wears a suit, kind of like a Men in Black type of look, sunglasses, and he
wears sunglasses, doesn't he? What's going on with that guy?
I think he does.
Okay, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but
anyway, well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of
I don't know what the deal is with the guy.
Okay,
I don't know what his background is, or where. I mean, my background, you could see where I came from. I mean, I came from over there, and now I'm over here. So I don't know if he has a journalistic background.
And he might. He could be the most stellar person in the world.
I have no idea.
I've just never really sat down and watched a lot of it. So
I know he has like a female sidekick or something, right? Doesn't he have a sidekick?
I don't know that much.
Okay.
I haven't gone that far. Okay. Mr. Mike. Okay. From Locals. Mr. Mike. Yes.
Welcome.
Anyway, question. A couple weeks ago, community members were asked for untold stories ideas to cover. I don't think so, but anyway, which submitted untold stories are a consideration. Happy holidays. I think I'll take this one. I think I was stating, is there anything you guys would like to hear about? And explicitly said, I'm good with America's Untold Stories. Mark and I are doing a thing there.
Right.
This is for me because I interview different people and I cover things with laid back news and stuff like that. But for America's Untold Stories, we're pretty good on story ideas. I mean, we're definitely not soliciting ideas at this point.
We've got a list a mile long. I mean, Eric and I have like a 5-page list of stories. It's going to take us till the end of time. And occasionally we add in more stories based on current events. But yeah, we've got a long list of things to do, right, Eric?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Plenty. All right. Somebody is stating, Missouri Gorilla sent another tip. Thanks for the answer.
Missouri Gorilla, MG,
yeah. Thanks for the answer, Mark, on the Mauser. After the guy finished eating his chicken sandwich in the sniper's nest, in your opinion, who planted the gun and shell casings for the deputies to find, and at what time do you think they were planted?
Okay, they were up there for 3 hours. So Dallas police obviously planted it. They were, as I pointed out numerous occasions, they were creating the sniper's nest. And Eric and I took Eric to the museum to show him the boxes that were rearranged by Dallas police and creating a sniper's nest. You couldn't have more of an emphatic manipulation of framing of evidence than the sniper's nest itself. The sniper's nest, just so people at home who are not hip to this, was really Bonnie Ray Williams eating a chicken leg sandwich by using what's that?
Bone in.
Yeah, bone in a chicken sandwich with a Dr. Pepper, by the way, a Dr. Pepper out of Dallas and a pack of menthol cigarettes. That was Bonnie Ray Williams sitting there eating lunch. Okay, so when the Dallas police show up, again, Walter Cronkite, this news was disseminated so far and so fast that Walter Cronkite said, and the sniper ate lunch while he waited for the president and had a chicken sandwich. This is Walter Cronkite. And that's the way it is. November 22nd, 1963. So Cronkite even gets the chicken sandwich story. And it's Bonnie Ray Williams who's eating the chicken sandwich, sitting in the quote unquote sniper's nest, having his lunch. So the Warren Commission kept pushing Bonnie Ray Williams in their testimony, saying, didn't you leave at like 12:15? He goes, oh, no. I was up there. I was up there watching the president. And they kept trying to push back the timeline on Bonnie Ray Williams. So the reason I mentioned the boxes and the sniper's nest is I have, and I've put on Locals, multiple photos of the formation of the sniper's nest by Dallas police, arranging them differently to try to form a sniper's nest out of the boxes. And then the shells were placed down, obviously all in a row. I mean, it's a preposterous setup, but that's kind of what Lieutenant Day and the other Hill and Westbrook were doing, is a frame job. That's what certain elements of the Dallas police and other police forces. We had it here in LA with the RFK assassination, right, Eric, where we had the two guys who were CIA guys who were dealing with the same situation. There were handpicked guys in each police force who were framers, who would frame a person who they perceived to be guilty, if that makes any sense. And if they had to create stuff, they created stuff. And in fact,
that was SOP in a lot of places at the time.
Right. It's not just Dallas. Dallas was just notorious for it. And in fact, many years later, I think into the 90s, DA Henry Wade had every single case thrown out by I think the Texas Supreme Court. That's how corrupt and how framing involved it was Wade in the DA's office. And I think they released every single person he had convicted for 20 years. if I am not mistaken. I'd have to look that up. But there was a case against Wade for framing so many people in Dallas.
Wow. Okay, I've got one more I'm going to take from locals, and I got to jump to YouTube because I'm getting a pile of super chats that we need to cover there. Hey, I'm not complaining. It's good problem to have.
Right.
This one is going to take a minute though. How and why did Mark get red pilled? This is from James Muir.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I just looked at the other side. I'll tell you, when Obama said, I'll give you an example. When Obama said, don't look at RT, I looked at RT. When Obama said, don't look at Fox, I looked at Fox. That's the short answer. I compared notes on both and realized that there's a reason that the left tells you. I looked at it as a reporter, and there's a reason they're so adamantly psychotic about telling you not to look at the other side. Instead of saying, look at the other side and you'll see that we're right. That would be a logical retort. But when he removed RT, Obama, from my cable feed, which I was watching quite a bit of, and the RT back then, keep in mind, had Larry King on it. It had Big Ed. Mm-hmm. It had that guy from Redacted. It had a lot of mainstream American guys who were on RT. And he removed that from my cable feed, Obama. And that was the first straw, the first redness of the pill. And I said, why can't I watch RT? And then, of course, the psychotic, you can't watch Bill O'Reilly. And I liked watching Bill O'Reilly because I grew up with Bill O'Reilly, not personally, but he
Inside Edition, the Kennedy stuff.
Right, exactly. Right, the Kennedy stuff. He had been there for the DeMoran Schultz suicide. And I just kept saying, why can't I watch Bill O'Reilly now? I mean, I know he's rambunctious and he's a Long Island asshole, but he was the equivalent of Bill Maher back in the day. You know what I mean? In not in a comedy way, but in terms of just being outrageous and arrogant and, kind of a loudmouth, which I found enjoyable. But once they tell you you can't watch something, I asked my brother, I said, are you going to watch RT or Bill O'Reilly? He said, no. I said, why? He said, because Obama said not to watch them. And I went, are you kidding me? And he said, no, Obama told me not to watch it, so I'm not going to watch it. And I said, that's the first thing I did was watch it. And that's a difference between me and him, obviously. But it works, is what I'm saying. It works. And he never watched it, and I immediately did. And I would say to anybody today on the left, if you feel so certain about your beliefs, watch Fox News for one consecutive week. And I mean, honestly, watch it. And look, we got problems with Fox. There's no doubt about it. Watch Tucker for a week and watch Rachel Maddow for a week. Let's put it that way, or she's gone.
And I recommend actually do that all the time.
No, I'm saying physically do it. Physically watch Chris Hayes for 1 week and watch 1 week of Tucker and tell me honestly that your exact viewpoint has not changed. I really think that would be a great litmus test and also another way to heal the rift between the two sides.
Yeah, and I try to stomach the Young Turks and other things. So there are some things I don't like, but I do try to watch. Right. The other side or whatever side, I try to be open. I have a weird way of looking at the news, and it's read articles in their entirety. And that sounds really lame, but there are so many instances I have seen where the headline and the first 2 or 3 paragraphs match. But as you continue reading the article down the line in the deeper inches, it completely will contradict itself half the time.
Right. Well, so for people at home, the reporter does not write the headline. There's a headline editor who writes the headline having nothing to do with the guy who wrote the article. And that's an old journalism split between the two editorial things. So a lot of times the reporter writes an article and the headline department, which may be completely woke and crazy, writes a headline, and you'll see that disconnect in the body of the article, which Eric's referring to. And also what we were talking about the other night, like you'll see Glenn Greenwald on Tucker all the time. You will not see anyone on the right on Rachel Maddow or on Chris Hayes. It doesn't cross over. Aaron Mate will show up on Tucker. Blumenthal, all of these guys on the left are allowed. Now, the rules are, if you go on Fox, you cannot go on CNN or MSNBC. And there's a reason they're doing that. And it's not to be mean. It's because they know how susceptible their audience is to the truth. They will not allow a cross-reciprocal agreement. Dr. Drew is not allowed on these other channels anymore. Either is Adam Carolla, either is Max Blumenthal, Jimmy Dore, Aaron Mate. That's why they're appearing on Fox, not because they love Fox.
That's the only outlet.
It's the only outlet. As Greenwald has said. I mean,
Greenwald's admitted that. He said, no, nobody will have me on. Yeah,
that's right. And Dr. Drew said the same thing. I mean, so is Carolla from the comedy side. So it's become so lopsided intellectually, and their world on the left is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And they are literally becoming Pravda and TASS news services at this point, not the news anymore, where the people in the Soviet Union knew that Pravda and TASS were government outlets, and they read them to see what the opinion was of the government. Scott Ritter has talked about this, and others. There were people in the CIA who literally specialized in reading TASS and Pravda to read between the lines. Now there are people here who read between the lines of the Washington Post to see what the battles are within the American government. The Washington Post now being the organ of the CIA and the neocons.
All right, John Belushi, your old friend, has been speaking for a while. We know that Tucker's dad is CIA. As a matter of fact, last week, Mark was discussing that is the source that he thinks Tucker may have, who has read the documents, the Kennedy assassination documents in the CIA, who is deeply trustworthy. Probably his dad.
I think it's his dad. Yeah, I think it's his dad. His dad ran Voice of America. I mean, there couldn't be a deeper spook in the United States than his dad. Let me put it that way.
All right. Reese Morris crushed all your JFK videos this week. Incredible content. Any connection, by the way, JFK murder and all these individuals, CFR, Rockefeller, Morgan, Rothschild.
It's too vague, bro. You can't just pick you can't just go Illuminati killed him. You got to be specific, bro. I mean, it's about time that people stop doing this crazy, Rothschild, Rockefeller. What do you think? They all met somewhere and said, let's blow his brains out? I mean, you got to be specific if you're going to say this stuff. There are elements of, put it this way. I mean, the Joint Chiefs of Staff every week would say, let's launch a thermonuclear first strike against the Soviet Union. And Kennedy would say no. And they go, all right, see you next week. You know what I mean? They wanted to launch Operation Northwoods, and they wrote it out as a plan, and he turned it down. So, I mean, if you look at General LeMay and you look at certain elements, but you got to get in the weeds on this thing, people. You got to look at these possible suspects in this murder, and there's elements of people like LeMay and Walker. And others there who have a finger in the pie. It's not just the Rothschilds. You know what I mean? You got to drill down like it's a murder mystery and look at who the suspects are, because it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. Once you get into there and you begin to look at people who ran the operation in Mexico City, like we were talking about last week, and how they tried to frame Oswald back in September of 1963. Why would you pick this guy in September of 1963 to frame? Who does the framing? Obviously it's outed pretty quickly by Hoover and LBJ. Not LBJ, but at least Hoover.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Helton Fasterman, great photographer. Merry Christmas, boys. Thank you.
Yeah, the rock guy, the rock photographer, right?
Yeah. He does really good stuff. I actually used some shots he did of Marilyn Manson, like way back in the 90s before he was Marilyn Manson. He was
Harvey Schwarzenstein, right?
Yeah.
Right. I think he got bar mitzvahed, actually, Marilyn Manson.
Must have. No. Yeah. Kimberly, love you guys. Merry Christmas. We love you, Kimberly. Thank you. And then look at this. Dustin Russell. This is the guy who sacrifices. He's the one who sacrifices to make sure he doesn't miss the show. Remember, So this week, the internet went on his flight, so he faked a heart attack just to land the bird so he could catch the show. So, I mean, this is the kind of dedication.
I love that dedication. He hijacked the plane into Havana to get Wi-Fi from the Havana airport. I like that.
Definitely. And then Peter Coscido, super secret. Thank you so much, Peter.
Sticker, I'll tell you that right now.
It's quite super.
Right.
Majorly
Diet
generous.
Coke, where Eric and I come from. Thanks for the stream right before the holidays. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Sparty's our teacher.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're having a nice vacation.
Dave and Barnes just pulled the plug. They just went off on their holidays. Hunley and I don't do that. we broadcast right through the holidays. A special New Year's Eve broadcast we're going to have from Times Square.
Yeah.
My uncle used to close up early on 42nd Street when I was working there as a kid when New Year's Eve. And we'd look out, we'd operate until like 11 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock. And all of a sudden we see them starting to walk across the front of the store. My uncle would go, "Here they come, lock it up." And we'd lock it up for New Year's Eve, pull down the gates and get the hell out of Times Square.
Wow. Super sticker from Lady Freddie. Thank you very much. Sparty Madigan. Love listening to get a better idea of the stories and characters in it than going back to re-listen to episodes with more context and interest. Just re-listen to the Smedley Butler episode and it was even better the second time. That's interesting. And I guess, especially like going back and listening to DeMornschalt after you get David Ferry, because there's so much overlap in what Clay Shaw and some of these characters.
Who was that guy you were talking about? The guy has a Polish name who blocked me on Twitter.
Poso. I can never. Posobiec.
Posobiec. Yeah, he put up. This is how out of touch they are. He put up a tweet yesterday from an article saying that a friend of Oswald had committed suicide in 1977 after being served a subpoena to appear before the House Assassinations Committee. And he wrote something to the effect like, "You think there's something going on here?" Like this was news to the guy that DeMornschalt blew his brains out in 1977, a show that it was such a weak sauce that I'm just going, do they not know anything about the assassination? And maybe it's me, thinking they know too much. But I mean, you had Bill O'Reilly covering this story, for Christ's sake. And here's this guy, Jack Proziak, thinking he came up with something yesterday on Twitter.
But
and then you've got Ben Shapiro. You've got, these
you're you're so deep into it, though, that a lot of things that are just obvious to you. I go through the same thing as my wife because I'm very cutting edge for technology. Right. And I had the first Apple Watch, I first this and that, and I get really, really deep into things early, and then people will discover, they'll be like, "Hey, have you seen this new iPod?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've had it for 5 years, dude."
Oh yeah, I
understand that.
O'Reilly wrote a book called "Killing Kennedy." I mean, he's done shows about it. This is just him and DeMornschalt. I mean, when you're called before the House Assassinations Committee and you blow your head off, it was huge news. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like it was part of a conspiracy. It's a pretty big story. And he was saying that he uncovered this, and I'm going like, oh, for the love of Christ, come on. Bro.
Okay. I hope not. Anyway, back to locals for a minute. Still a lot on YouTube. This is incredible. On locals, interested party sent a $200 tip.
What? That's the name of the person, interested party?
Yes, on locals.
Somebody who's already supporting us in the deep state. The deep state might be fighting over us, screw them. No, they're good. Screw them. So I'm sending them money.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Interested party. Thank you so much, IP.
Yes, thank you. Anyway, it's messages, Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. I watch all the AUS episodes on locals and is shockingly underpriced for the entertainment and educational value.
Well, I put up a thing about the Arizona governor's race, the old one, that they replaced the Democratic governor with a Republican. And I wrote Arizona Untold Story, on Twitter this morning.
I agree. And I agree with that statement, though. There's a lot there on locals.
Yeah.
Everybody definitely check it out. Let me see. make sure I'm catching up here. All right, continuing on locals for a minute. Oh, damn it. I just skipped ahead. Guam might flip over. Cute. Lamppost pundit. I had a conversation when I was working for former President Richard Nixon. Roger Stone replied. Nixon shuddered and told Stone, let me put it this way. Lyndon and I both wanted to be the president.
He wanted it a little bit more than I did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that quote. I mean, look, he knows what happened, Nixon. Nixon knew what happened. I mean, he also said to Roger Stone and whoever else was in that room when Jack Ruby killed Oswald, and he said, I know that man. That's Jack Rubenstein. He used to work for me undercover when he was running a committee in the Senate. He said this out loud when the shooting occurred, so he knew who Jack Ruby was.
Okay. Busy Lizzie on locals has an interesting question. I'll take a stab at it. I'm not going to say that I'm certain, but I think I'm right about it. Question: if Trump does become speaker and something happens so that the speaker becomes president, would that count as a second term, or can he still run again in 2024? Technically, if that occurred, he could be president. It would count toward his time, but he could still run, because even if he won, it would be a total of 10 years. And constitutionally, they are limited to 10 years as president. So however they get there, it would just be another path, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think that's accurate.
Right. No, it could happen. It could happen.
Right,
I mean,
but the 10 years.
If you're a disruptor and you've been getting your ass kicked by the media for 2 to 4 years, like he has, being censored, silenced, investigated, why wouldn't you do it? What is the downside for you? I'm not me saying this. This is what Barnes was saying on the Duran the other day. There's only upside to this thing. You get some power, you get the voice, you have to negotiate the budget with a guy named Joe Biden. You get to sit behind him during the State of the Union address. You can have press conferences, you get in office. I mean, what is the downside? I don't get it.
Oh, and you make everybody's head explode.
Okay, so but you're a disruptor. I mean, what?
No, that's the major upside. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, this is right in his wheelhouse, and you could still run for president in 2 years. You could have a press conference every day talking about your presidential race.
Yeah, it would. That would definitely be a disruptive move.
Greatest story of all time if it happened. That's all I can tell you.
Oh, and my God.
Barnes is saying he's in discussions with some Trump insiders about it.
Well, it actually is almost a perfect troll. It's a perfect troll.
Yeah.
In many, many, many ways. So, let me see. Somebody asked.
He could vote to cut off money to all kinds of things too.
Yep. Okay. 10K Mosey send a $10 tip. Hope that you both have a great weekend. Thanks for everything you do, and I intend to. It's Christmas weekend. Mark is just trucking along with Hanukkah, his never-ending Hanukkah.
Oh no! I switch gears. I move over. I have some other people, the Goyim, come over, and I help them celebrate. I give them some gifts just to be nice.
Oh, well, that's good.
No, I like giving gifts. I'm like a nut about giving gifts. I swear to God, I'm crazy. I'll give people like 7 gifts. You know what I mean? Just because I'm crazy.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I like giving gifts. I don't really care about getting them. I've always I like giving gifts. I really do.
Dodger 12 on locals. Mark, does D. Eugenio go by the name DJ still? I knew him when I was a kid in Erie, Pennsylvania.
I don't know anything about that. I know he goes by Jimmy. He goes by Jimmy Die.
Yeah, I've seen Jimmy Die.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Or Jimmy D. Or Interesting. All right, let me jump back to more super chats. Super sticker from
put up part 3 of that interview with him, by the way, Eric.
Part 3's up. Part 4 will be going up, I think, on Christmas.
Oh, woohoo! Bravo.
On locals, and somebody asked actually, what is locals, and I'll bring up a screen share in a minute just to talk about this.
Locals is an underground organization seeking truth, justice, and the American way.
There you go. Whatever happened to Hires Root Beer? It was the best. I've never heard of it.
No, I've heard. Basically in the East, Hires Root Beer. I don't know. That's a good question. Also, Fanta, as somebody pointed out, which I knew, came out of the post-World War II German economy. After Coca-Cola, they created that orange drink, Fanta, the Germans.
Using the Coca-Cola leftover.
Yes.
Equipment. Yeah, I saw that a lot of people wrote in on that.
Right.
We do read every comment. We may not be able to apply to everything
in the show. I mean, I couldn't fit in, we got to leave stuff out just for time's sake. I could have talked an hour about Tab, You got to have a piece of lemon with Tab. I'll tell you that. You need a piece of lemon to survive. That's got some bitter aftertaste, Tab. They had Tab on tap back east. I mean,
Tab was big.
It was on tap,
Oh yeah. Lady Freddie, $9.99. This is for Mark putting on a suit and tie for us. He should be asking for a couple billion. Respect to both of you.
Let me tell you something. Hunley doesn't have to do this, but I respect the medium, and I do this every week, and it takes a while to pull this off. Mm-hmm. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Hunley does streams all day long. I just do this. Latke with sour cream or applesauce. Potato latke. Yeah, I go with applesauce with that. Sour cream for blintzes, for potato latkes, applesauce. I was just coaching some of my Christian friends who were stuck in New York because of the snowstorm and weather on how to eat blintzes and potato latkes. So I've had this conversation this week. I recommended Barney Greengrass on 86th in Amsterdam. If you can get in there before 4 o'clock, that would be advisable.
All right. Hold on. JM, single Patriot missile batteries to protect Zelensky.
Maybe
from a missile enema.
That's funny. Yeah, it may very well be. I mean, it's not going to make a difference, is what all these military experts said. It's not going to make this stupid missile battery system is not. It's too little, too late. What's done is done. They've run out of ammo now.
I have not been following any Candace Owens story about meeting a potential spy.
I don't know what that means, but big fan of Candace Owens.
She's all right.
And she's really cute.
Look at this.
Animals. Wow. That's blunt. Jesus Christ.
Okay, I'm dumb, but I ain't that dumb.
What is that? I see. NZ is like New Zealand money?
Yeah, New Zealand.
Is that roughly what our money is, or
I'm not sure. It's probably like Australian. I know it's red, so it's above $50,
right?
US or something like. Look. We thank you very much.
Whatever's going on down there in New Zealand, I know there's problems. I know you got commie problems down there, so we support you.
And I like your username. I mean, it took me a minute to read my way through. I'm dumb, but I ain't that dumb.
That's funny. That's funny.
And also, and a Happy New Year.
Same guy.
Yeah.
Okay. He's rounding off to 100 NZs.
Looks that way.
Yeah.
All right.
I've never met Norman Mailer. I was just reading. I watched a documentary on Saul Bellow the other night, and American Masters. Fascinating documentary. But Mailer was similar in a lot of ways to Saul Bellow, except he was from New York. Ran for mayor. We got into the ring, had fights with Gore Vidal. I mean, just an incredible maniac alcoholic, So, I mean, Mailer has got to be taken. He also wrote a book about Oswald, which is very novelistic. Let me put it that way. I think it's called Oswald's Ghost. So not really factual based, but it reads like a novel. Although it's supposed to be nonfiction. Not really. Oh. Yeah.
All right. I know him from writing about Gary Gilmore, right?
Yes, that's right. Well, Gary Gilmore and there was another guy who got out. He helped get a guy. What was this guy's name? Henry something or other. He got him out of jail through one of these celebrity things. He was a murderer, and he was supposed to be a great writer, the guy he got out of jail. And he got out of jail.
Oh, that dude.
Right. And he stabbed somebody and killed him in a restaurant as soon as Mailer got him out of jail.
Well, I've got one for you. You probably already know, but
right.
Gary Gilmore is behind the most famous slogan in the world.
Let's do it.
Just Do It. Yep.
Oh, Just Do It. Yeah, I'm sorry, Just Do It. His brother wrote for Rolling Stone, Mikhail Gilmore. His brother covered the story of the execution of his brother.
Wow. But now keep in mind, it's not just that he came up with Just Do It. It was literally his last freaking words. When they said, do you have any final words? And he said, just do it.
Yeah.
And that became the Nike slogan.
He had a choice between soup and salad, basically, with his execution. He chose firing squad. There was multiple choices in Utah. I think there was maybe not 3 choices. Maybe it was 3 choices.
I think it was like gas chamber.
Hanging was one. Firing squad was one.
They have a variety. They're Western, Old West style.
Right.
And he picked the firing squad. So
I don't know. What would you pick, you viewers at home? Just to put it out there in a poll, what would your form of execution be if you had to choose one? Think about it. And get back to Hunley and I as quickly as possible for the holidays.
Comments below.
Comments below. What type of execution would you choose? You can't get out of it. Your appeals are done. You might have been framed. I don't care what your cockamamie story is. You're done. And now you have to choose.
All right. Filthy McNasty wants to know if we can get a Cash App or equivalent. I have a Cash App. It's actually in the description of this video. I sent Mark information to do the Cash App and give me a kickback, but I don't think
as a boomer, Mark is having problems with anything involving anything because of my boomer acid-filled, drug-addled mind. So I'll
tell you what. If anyone wants to do like a Cash App and get it to Mark and I, please put in the note that this is for Mark and me or not, or if it's all for Mark, and I'll just make sure he gets it.
Never hear from him again, that's for sure. That's the last we'll hear from Hunley.
Depends on how much it is.
Right.
I mean, if it's enough.
I'm in the Bahamas now, Mark. This is great. I wish you were here. I'm down here.
I have no idea what happened. Yeah, I mean, if it's enough money, we can talk.
What about the FTX kid being extradited from the Bahamas back to his own bedroom? With the highest bail ever set in the history of American jailing, I think, at $250 million, right?
Jesus,
you would think he killed somebody, this kid.
Well, did you see his rather young-looking girlfriend, CFO or whatever, is put in a guilty plea?
Well, she flipped. Yeah, Carol, you're talking about.
Yeah,
she flipped. So she was looking at 100 years, and when you
as well as the IT guy flipped.
The IT guy flipped immediately, and obviously this guy's in his own bedroom. I don't understand how this is possible. But he put anonymous people, including his parents. His parents just put up the house, which is worth $4 million around Stanford, where they both teach.
Jesus.
But other anonymous people put up bail. I don't think this is supposed to be anonymous. We're going to ask Barnes about this. Can you anonymously post bail in a public court?
Why not?
Robert, please help us here. I mean, or Viva. I don't know.
I think you probably can. I don't know that that's
okay,
because if they send the money to the parents, that would be a kind of a wash. I don't know, as long as they come up with it.
But remember, in the case with the kid with the gun, who
Ethan something or no?
No. But I'm saying they were doxing the people who.
Oh, that was Rittenhouse when they were donating.
Right. Yeah. Who put up the money for this kid to get out of jail? Was it George Soros?
Right, but that was actually doxing. Like they broke in, they hacked that institution. They broke the law to get that out there. So it's not.
I'm just
saying, I don't know.
There's more to this than meets the eye. It's all I'm saying. Somebody put up the money.
All right, thank you.
I just joined Locals. Oh, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Marianne Williamson.
All right.
No, I'm saying who put up the money for this kid to get out, because it's obviously a public interest.
But I don't know that. I don't know if there's an obligation. I genuinely don't know. So maybe not.
Ask Robert about that.
Yeah. Paging Robert Barnes.
Well, we'll have him on next Friday.
No, the
week after.
First Friday of the year.
Right.
But let me see. Nope, no mention of Crystal Pepsi.
I never even heard of that, or Cindy Crawford for that matter. I mean, we got into the other Crawford, Joan Crawford. we covered
the more entertaining one.
Right. We got into Joan Crawford, who married Al Steele, the president of 7-Up, of Pepsi, and then said, "Strap yourself in, boys. It's going to be a bumpy ride," when she chaired the board of directors meeting.
It could be. Mary Williamson. Oh, thank you very much. Mark, do you believe any of the chatter on back channels about Biden really not present? Well, Biden is definitely a figurehead.
Yeah, it's being run by a committee. It's being run by a committee. So, I mean, this is an old socialist technique. I mean, clearly he is out of the loop on most of this crap. You know, apparently yelling and screaming, they said the other day about something. I'm not really sure what the problem
I'm waiting for his Secret Service agents to leak.
Yeah.
That's where you get, really get to hear some bits. Jonah Ryan. Posobiec is DIA. He's a limited hangout.
Oh, okay. That might be possible. Has he admitted that he was Defense Intelligence Agency?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, that explains a lot about the Kennedy assassination. Now, keep in mind, Kennedy invented DIA, and that was to replace the CIA. When he scattered them to the four winds, he wanted the military aspect to be taken away from the Central Intelligence Agency and created the DIA.
Right. And we're not, I'm not, by the way, we're not saying he is or isn't limited hangout. I know he is intelligence. But
I don't know who he is. I don't know. I know he's Polish, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
And Catholic, he's been on Viva and Barnes. They had a sidebar with him.
Oh, really?
They know him pretty well.
They have a lot of sketchy guys on that sidebar. You know that?
Especially Hunley and Groubert.
No. I mean, we're not that sketchy, but they've had a lot of weird dudes on there.
We're the sketchiest, man.
Right. I don't look. I'm just an idiot who lives and got stuck in LA. I mean, but there are people who have nefarious goals trying to move over to the right, like Michael Schellenberger and others that we've outed. You know what I mean?
By the way, that dude, Schellenberger.
How sketchy is that cat? Who was the first guy to tell you about that cat?
You are, but this is what triggered me. I figured it out. His Twitter handle triggers me because he goes by Schellenberger MD. I know his first name is Michael and his middle name starts with a D. But anybody who puts MD on the tail end of a last name as a Twitter handle is trying to pass, trying to pull something. And it just right from the jump, sorry, that's sketch, too weird.
Well, his father, Shelley Schellenberger, of course, longtime CIA operative, retired. I think he lives up in Washington State. So, like I said, it's always families, folks. Always families.
Yep.
And if they're not families, they take you out of an orphanage and build you from the ground up. There's two ways to go.
Okay.
Lineage or having no parents at all.
Chris Banks asked, and I put this aside just so I could share this and talk about it.
This guy knows what Locals is, doesn't it, Chris Banks?
I don't know if he knows, but you know what? He's right. We talk about it all the time.
What is it?
We should show it and look at it. This is Locals.
Right.
And it is essentially almost like a private Facebook, if you will.
Right. Without the CIA.
And
although for $5,
I don't know. CIA can pay. They're welcome. Everybody's welcome to pay.
Right.
Anyway, you've got. This is the standard view here. Let me see. We post articles, both us and people who are members of the community.
Right.
So that's part of what attracted me to do it way back in the day is the fact that people themselves, here's Dark Journalist, another reference, can post to here, share it with each other. And the way it works is we post a lot of stuff that is free, open for everybody, via articles, links, etc. I always put down the show that's going to be coming up here. And then we have some supporter-only content as well, if you want to go further than following and donate to us. So we have follower level and then supporter level. And supporters means you just pay $5 a month or $50 a year. And with that, you'll see things like this. This is part 3 of the Jim Eugenio
interview that I did in Dallas. And
exactly.
Right.
And
that's for the paying people.
Right. And I do a weekly live stream where I try to do it.
Who invented this thing, Locals? Was that Dave Rubin?
Dave Rubin co-created it with his brother-in-law after Sargon of Akkad and Lawrence Southern were both thrown off of Patreon,
right,
as a way to make sure. And it was really interesting because Dave Rubin actually had Jack Conte of Patreon on his show, the Rubin Report, to talk to him about, because it was starting to get really, really sketchy, and he was like, no, we don't throw out. And it was like within a week or two, he threw off Sargon. And that's when Rubin did the whole Locals thing.
Right.
Partnering with Jordan Peterson was involved with Locals very early on. But kind of split off. Yeah. And sort of disappeared for a while. But that's another thing.
Daily Wire. I mean, he's got an exclusive deal with that.
Oh, he does now. But I'm just saying that this is going back years and years.
Oh, right. So, but it's a free speech platform, right, Eric?
Yes. I mean, you can say pretty much what you want. Don't be shitty to other people or whatever. There will be some degree of moderation if you go in there, like just yelling, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I would have to do something about it.
But they police themselves. They basically take care of it.
Yeah. But, it's obviously, you can say things like the I word and.
You could say all the different words. Yeah, they're very popular. All the words. You could use all of them.
Yeah. Multi-syllables. They're good words.
You can say Nazis with the N in front of it. You could put up
absolutely
documentaries, Hitler, without the H, with the H. Shotzi the dog, whatever you want. Just come on over.
That's right. Peterson started ThinkSpot, and I think ThinkSpot went nowhere. Yeah,
that's right. I forgot about that.
But I know that they were working together. I don't know why it didn't shake out, but whatever.
But it's fun on there. I mean, I put up a lot of scripts. Eventually, we'll have the Oswald stuff up there after I finish or do this project on Oswald. But there's documents up there. There's scripts up there. There's a whole slew of stuff for paid members to enjoy.
Yes.
My book and all kinds of crazy stuff I put up there.
And we do appreciate it. And to give an idea, I guess I should share this part too, because we have chats available.
Oh, right. That's right.
Man, so there's this chat that, the one I'm reading off of Locals saying that, here we go. Here's something else from Locals. And that's where I'm getting them, is from a chat that is actually on Locals right here that is going at the same time as this stream.
Right. So you can be part of the whole community, in other words. And Viva and Barnes have their version of it too. They have a Locals page, and a lot of different groups have it. The Gaggle, obviously Rubin has it. Dr. Drew has one. If you dig those communities, if you can access all of them by paying for one, not behind their walls, but you can access.
You can subscribe to all of them, or you can follow all of them for free.
You can follow all of them for free. That's what I meant to say.
But you have to choose and then say follow. So, and then if you support one, you're only supporting the one. You're not supporting any other.
I would vote for us, since we are the weak little sister of this community that could use your support the most.
We're small but mighty, and you make us mighty.
Eric showed us on the chart. We've moved up. We're right in back of somebody, and we're back at Dr. Drew now and closing in on who, Eric? Remember we were showing that chart?
Oh, yeah. Let me find.
Showing how we rank with these big giants in the industry all of a sudden.
Well, that's the audience who's putting us there. So thank you guys.
Yeah. I mean, I was shocked to see who we were with. Yeah, this is it, right?
Yeah, if you go to Discover, we are trending.
We're trending.
And I'm pretty sure though that this is because I've seen it going up and down.
Right.
You'll see that Bongino, Tulsi, Viva Barnes are the biggest channels. You kind of know that everybody on the top is bigger. Russell Brand, obviously, but we're holding our own. We're right next to Project Veritas. If we go into culture, we're head of Peter Schiff, head of Breitbart, the Quartering,
right on.
Umbrella Guy, Yomi Park.
The little train that could. Wow.
Dana Perino.
Okay. Right. Bravo.
And if we go to news, we're really closing in quickly on your friend, Dr. Oh, shit.
What
We just passed Dr. Drew.
Ask Dr. Drew. Tell him what he's won, Bob. You win a free stethoscope and an anal probe.
Look at that. Right next to Project Veritas, we just passed Dr. Drew. Wow. So you guys are
stardom because of the fans.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. Thank you.
Wow. Who knows where this nutty thing is going to go? Who knows?
I don't know, but boy, they sure do help make it all possible.
Well, the PayPal helps too for the book fund, the JFK book fund. It allows me to get the books, for instance, on next week's episode, which I appreciate that people donate on PayPal to, or Venmo. We'll figure out the Cash App thing, but so far so good. Thanks.
And yeah, we've still got a lot. We've got stuff to go through on here. We got more.
What do you got?
More questions and tips. So
bring it on. Let's go, Hunley.
All right.
As long as your meds hold on, I'm good. As long as you can hold on with your pain meds, I'm good to go.
All right. So,
although I saw Viva leave in the middle of a stream to go to the bathroom the other day, and
I've done that.
Barnes has just kept going like Viva was still there. It was kind of funny.
Well, what's great though is he did, but the funny thing is that, I mean, technically, he didn't really have to announce it.
I know. He just could have. He could have gone.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just said, "Boom," to turn off the camera and just gone.
Right.
Or I got to do something.
Right.
But he's sharing.
Had to tell us about his bodily functions, though.
Look, everything's content.
Right.
Everything is content.
Even squirrels. Even squirrels.
Oh boy. All right. Back to locals. Joe McCarthy in 1953, when he was chairman of the committee, appointed Roy Cohn to be counsel for the committee. He also appointed Robert Kennedy to the position of assistant counsel. Untold foreign policy. I'm sure that'll come up when we.
What's the question?
There isn't one. It appears.
Well, McCarthy married Kennedy's sister. That's why. Answer your non-question.
Okay.
He was a friend of the Kennedy family.
And then Roy Cohn. Okay. Wasn't that
a tough prosecutor?
Yeah. Okay. Tatum sent a $5 tip on locals. Just finished reading The Devil's Chessboard. Are we doing an episode on the Dulles brothers? Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Talbot does a great job in that book, but yeah.
But tied in with Kennedy and he kind of.
Yeah. I think he's on the list.
Let me see. Jack Posobiec wouldn't block Mark if he knew his background. I don't know. He blocked him. We don't know why.
He blocked me. I don't know what happened. I don't even know the guy.
Fed J is the Farrell Foundation a good source of JFK assassination records?
That's the question?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all in there. And they have different levels of membership too, which gives you access. But even for free, you can go through 1 million pages of documents.
Okay. And Fed J is saying, remember under Ford, we had a president and vice president, Rockefeller, that were not elected by the people. True.
That's right.
Grammykins sent a $5 tip. My cousin says the first time he met Jack Ruby, Ruby pulled a gun on him. After that, what's surprising?
He pulled a gun on a lot of people. I mean, he used to pull a gun in the nightclub all the time, either pistol whipping them or threatening them with being shot. So he was quick on the draw, in terms of the gun.
Wow. Let me see. Otto M wants everybody to know that Groubert doesn't wear pants or comb his hair, but the coat and tie are fire.
I have pants, matching pants, suit pants, and I have done something to my hair. I guess I did do something. I combed it in some direction. My hair cutter, Christy of Beverly Hills, is coming over on Monday for you ladies who are curious about that.
All right. Somebody asked, okay, MRW63. I just joined locals.
Oh, right.
Thank you very much. Good to have you. I think that might be Marianne Williamson. Picture looks similar. Eric, how's the paw healing? It gets better. It's aggravating, but it's getting better. Mimi Tanaka saying, anybody see the SPF? Oh boy. Is flying first class back?
What do you expect? It wasn't on Con Air.
Good Lord.
This guy goes first class.
Well, it looks like he's sitting next to a CNN anchor too.
My question, and I said to Hunley, is what was he charged with by the Bahamian authorities to arrest him? They said they had charges themselves. These charges were never revealed by the Bahamians. And was it a Julian Assange situation where they just picked him up as an enemy of the state on our behalf? I'm curious as to how the Bahamians were allowed to arrest this person and claim they had charges against him, that he had done Bahamian banking fraud. That kind of disappeared.
Which is weird.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Gypsy Engine. Mark, was Carlos Hathcock any relation to Hollywood private investigator Richard Hathcock?
I don't know, but it's a good porno name. Either one. I never heard of either name.
Ouch. And they're saying day after assassination, FBI questioned Richard Hathcock about a Johnson semi-automatic rifle traced to Jerry Patrick Hemming, Lauren Hall, and Roy Payne, and anti-Castro raids.
Right. I mean, Hemmings and these guys have been deep state operatives. So having to trust their stories after being soldiers of fortune and mercenaries on our behalf, it's a little difficult to trust their veracity, if I could put it that way.
All right. And I got the name right. It was Marianne who had joined. So cool. All right. Back to Super Chats. You guys are being wonderfully generous right before Christmas. Thank you very much, by the way. Oh no, 2112. Good work and happy holidays.
Oh no.
Thank you.
Oh no.
Oh God. Yes, I'm sure a lot of people would love to see Trump as a speaker.
It would be one of the great political
trolls.
People's, yeah.
It would be the ultimate troll of all time.
Right, dude, it would just be great. Are you kidding? How could you be opposed to it? How could you be opposed to it?
Australian $33 from Stool Purger. Interesting name. Thank you very much.
The old Stool Purger.
Yeah. Thomas
Nobody's mentioning that P-22 is dead, the mountain lion here in LA. They're weeping on TikTok. Grown women were crying over the death of a mountain lion that lived in in Griffith Park here. Just pointing that out there.
Obviously, they didn't lose their cat or dog.
Right. Well, he was eating a lot of dogs, so it had.
I know.
Right.
Great show as always. You guys are a hidden gem. Thank you. Tell your friends we're not hidden. Nudge wink. Thanks for entertainment. More power to your elbow for
next year. Oh, I guess that's about drinking or something. Elbow, right? The British always say. Was there another Oswald arrested at the theater? No, just him. Just him.
And the nth degree, 49. Thank you very much.
The nth degree.
Nth degree. It was a signature bond, no money exchanged hands. Tucker spoke about it last night.
I didn't see the show. No money exchanged hands. Signature bonds at $250 million did not, or $25 million. It's usually 10% of the total bond. So it's a no money bond. No money at all. Why were they saying it was $250 million then?
I don't know.
Why were the parents having to put up the deed to their house? I don't understand that.
Well, if they had to go through like a bonding agency, that's a typical. They come up with a 10%, and then the bonding agency.
Right. But their house was only worth $4 million. They needed another $21 million of somebody to sign that bond. And
money came in from somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere.
Okay, Posobiec, enable intelligence, always questionable.
O&I? He's O&I now? Or what's the deal? He was DIA.
I knew he was some sort of intelligence. I don't remember which one.
He won the Amish farmer case. Bravo. The right to grow your own food without labels from the FDA or the Aggie department.
That is fantastic, but it's really sad that it has to be like a victory. It should be kind of an obvious thing, but
dinner's on Barnes though. Come on, let's make it. Amish have to pay for this. Come on.
All right, Crystal Peppy with Pepsi's version of a new Coke flop. Any ties to Scientology?
Me personally, I had a girlfriend who was in Scientology, but
they're neighbors.
That quickly ended, and neighbors and stuff, but not myself. No.
And you're neighbors of them in LA, right?
Right. Yeah. Right around the
Hit that like button, please. Well, thank you, Secret McSquirrel, who is a phenomenal moderator, by the way. Everybody should follow Secret.
Big proponent of squirrel stew, which was eaten by Garfield on his deathbed, where two girls killed their pet squirrel to send to the president as he was dying, which is in the episode on Garfield.
Why are you doing that to Armand?
No, I'm just bringing up the squirrel. She brought it up herself when I was saying it during the show.
I know. And I think she said, I'm out of here.
Right. I didn't know there was a squirrel stew.
Oh, Nat Allen, 1999. Thank you very much. Bob Tranquilli, super sticker, $5 Canadian. Thank you.
I'm still predicting that the guy from FTX overdoses on fentanyl. That's the way he's going to go out. I'm putting it up there. I just want to get that prediction in early. I put it up on Twitter yesterday. I'm going with a fentanyl overdose.
All right. John Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
Gee, it sounds like somebody, another Ghislaine.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yep. Just a little something for the inside skinny. Thank you very much. Marskell said Barnes fell asleep on at least one occasion.
Where on the show, or
I guess I don't know. That would be funny. And then Wolfer just became a Locals supporter. Watch out,
Wolfer! Way to go! Watch out! We're going to take on Project Veritas.
That's
James
right.
O'Keefe, move over.
That's right.
They're going to seize our phones next, Hunley.
I heard the cops are blocking off the streets.
Oh, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. But he is into different drugs himself by his own admission. He's into amphetamines and stuff. And I think he's going to find some amphetamines are cut with fentanyl during his search.
Oh, okay. We got some more Rumble rants that snuck in. 63
Really?
Telecaster. Thanks for spending the holidays with your real family.
This is my only family. They're my real family. This is the only family. I am an orphan. I'm a YouTube orphan, a Rumble orphan, a orphan.
Question for us both. Do we prefer root beer, birch beer, or sarsaparilla? Root beer, probably.
I would go root beer. I don't even like root beer. I mean, I like cream soda. I'm like a vanilla.
Yeah, me too.
I like cream soda.
Yeah,
I will take milk and put it into Coke and make like a little egg cream out of it sometimes.
Yeah, I won't go that far.
Yeah. Don't forget, I was a soda jerk, Hunley. Now I'm just a jerk. But when I was a kid, I was a soda jerk in my uncle's coffee shop. So I experimented like a 19-year-old with every bizarre. I just became like, Brainiac 5 when it came to like making weird sodas. My uncle would just laugh. And I'd say, taste this one, Uncle Louie. And he'd just spray it out in my face, because I try everything. Because I had a full soda fountain to work with, Hunley.
Okay.
And my stoned hippie friends would come down after my uncle left, and then they would have the run of the place, making milkshakes and crazy egg creams. It was a turbulent time in American history.
It reminds me of making fried chicken in the Army. I won't go into that. Did you know you could put baking soda and sugar and everything else into that? All right, folks. Well, that actually wraps up the super chats and Rumble rants and local support, which is astounding. Thank you, everyone, so much.
It's gone crazy lately.
Yeah, it has, and we deeply appreciate it. And Oswald is very encouraged.
That dog was framed. Let me tell you something. That dog was framed. He's no patsy. That dog was railroaded.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But you can find Oswald and other merch below.
Right on. Right on.
Another super chat just came in. Merry Christmas and Hanukkah.
And Happy New Year. You guys are great.
Thank you.
Alex Davy Duke.
All right. So are we revealing what's happening on Tuesday, or are we going to?
Yeah, no, we could tell them. It's a weird show about a guy that Tucker reminded me to bring up to the top of the list, who was lower down on the list of our master list until Tucker brought him up. And I said, you know what?
It's time.
It's time to move him up, because when Tucker is beating us to the punch, I got to move quicker.
Also, you know what? It's a way to wrap up. 2022 has been a phenomenal year. This being the last official covered episode, I mean, come on, we got to go out with a bang.
Yeah, I don't even know why he brought him up. It had nothing to do with what he was talking about. It caught me completely off guard.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, that was weird. But I hope he watches on Tuesday, because it's going to be Dr. Jolly West, MK Ultra, LSD, Patty Hearst, Manson, the whole Mishprocha, the whole Megillah, whatever
Jimmy
you want to
Shaver.
yeah, the whole
God.
big, thing involving Jack Ruby, how he was involved with Ruby, and an elephant that took too much acid. We'll just leave it at that.
And you might even have a personal connection somehow.
Oh, that's right. There is something to it. That's right. What is my connection to it?
I don't know. We'll have to find out on Tuesday, I guess.
Oh, yeah, we'll find out. I think there is some connection.
Uh-oh. All right. So in that, hope to see folks tomorrow for the grill stream. It will be back tomorrow, and hope to see you on Locals. Obviously, a few of you will be here. Hope to see the rest. And until Tuesday, thank you so much.
Thanks for the PayPal.